Good evening and welcome. At this time, I call to order Muskogee Creek National Council Emergency Session, August 12th, 2020. Time is 6:30 p.m. This time, I'd like to ask Representative Patrick Freeman Jr. if he'd do the invocation, please. Amen. Thank you, Representative Freeman. Roll call. Recording Secretary Alicia Strobel.
Speaker Randall Hicks.
Present.
Mary Crawford.
Present.
Joyce Steer.
Present.
Patrick Freeman. Joseph Hicks.
Here.
Robert Huft.
Present.
James Jennings. Here. Adam Jones.
Here.
William Lowe.
Here.
Anna Marshall.
Present.
Charles McHenry.
Here.
Thomasine Yahola Osborne.
Present.
Daryl Proctor.
Here.
Mark Randolph.
Present.
Lucian Tiger.
Present.
Speaker, you have 15 present, 0 absent.
15 present, 0 absent. Constitutes quorum. All business conducted will be official. Order of business, TR 21-119. A tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the principal chief to execute a United States Department of Agricultural, Food and Safety and Inspection Service application for federal inspection for the Muskogee Creek Nation Meat Processing Facility. Sponsors Robert Huff.
Adopt.
Representative Huff made a motion to adopt TR 21-119, seconded by Representative Tiger. Discussion.
Speaker, basically all this is basically the accounting has accounting anything under $5,000 has to be all we're doing is adjusting it from equipment to supplies. Sorry, speaker, I'm sorry. I was saying that the under the controllers department, they have anything under $5,000 has to be considered supplies rather than the equipment. So all they're doing is moving money from equipment to supplies.
Mr. Huff, you might be speaking a different.
What are you talking about?
This is the food and
sorry.
food and safety.
I apologize.
Mr. Trent, or that's okay.
You were close.
Yes, thank you. So this is our application to have the meat processing facility be USDA inspected. The reason it has to come before, obviously, is a government-to-government agreement, and then Kevin wanted me to point out that there are a few things in there, like we have to comply with OSHA and things like that. But this is just our application for them to come out and make sure that we fit the program, be able to be USDA inspected for the meat processing plant.
Thank you, Mr. Trent. Council, is there any other questions or discussion for Mr. Kissy?
Can we ask questions about where we're at or not? I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I'm just wondering where we're at on when it's opening and how far along are we?
It's coming in hot. So we're hoping that the building punch will be September 16th, right after that Labor Day holiday, and then give us a couple weeks to kind of get staff in there and get training. We're looking at hopefully opening up the retail space like mid-October, October 18th. I think that's a Monday is kind of what we're looking at. That'll give us a few weeks to get our staff trained and then get the retail product built up for when we open that retail store, because we would anticipate there'd be a huge surge of people. So got a manager hired. We've got the hiring event coming up soon to get our butchers and stuff hired and the retail space staffed. And then we'll start to set equipment. They're putting the smokers in now. The floor is getting the final coating on it in most of the facility. They'll have to lay one more area. One of the high traffic areas, they're going to put that floor down last just so it doesn't get scuffed up. And then once the floor is done, we'll start moving equipment in and being ready to roll.
All right, thank you.
Any other discussion? Representative Jennings.
Yes. So you say that the retail is going to be open in mid-October?
We hope, yes, sir. That's the plan right now. As long as everything goes according to plan, we're hoping that October 18th. And that's not any official. We haven't set that officially or anything. That's kind of our target to open that up.
Okay. So how long are you going to allow this beef to hang if you're going to have it?
So on the custom orders, it's typically industry standard to do about 12 days, and we'll probably do that as well with our own product. We did put in a dry aging room in the facility as well. So one of the reasons that we did that was so we don't have to hang the entire carcass. So we can kind of speed up that processing on that end. Some of the cuts don't need as much aging, but the real high value, like the loins and the ribeyes and stuff, where you would want like a dry aged steak, you wouldn't have to hang the whole carcass and get like your roasts and things that don't really benefit as much from that additional aging. You wouldn't have the shrink from the moisture loss, basically, is all it is. You can get that product out there a lot faster, but we'll have the capability to age like ribs and loins and things that are real high value, as long as a customer would want them. So, for example, if we started working with the casino down the line and they say we want 40-day dry aged steaks, we would be able to go ahead and fabricate the rest of that carcass and get it out to the retail space and then hang their ribs for the 40 days that they would want.
Well, my concern is I don't think we need to be cutting corners and speeding it up, if we're going to sell a premium product.
Absolutely.
And so that's why I asked the question.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Yeah, we definitely won't cut corners. And typically the way plants like this work, they'll hang the beef carcasses for about 12 days, 14 days. And then if a customer wants to age longer, they typically would just charge them like a day fee, a daily fee, like $1. It's like $1.30 typically to hang for extra days. There's a lot of data out there that you really don't get any more benefit hanging the whole carcass past that 12-day mark. It's really getting through the rigor mortis and allowing kind of the things to start breaking down and tenderize a little bit. A lot of the large packing plants, they actually will induce rigor mortis with electricity, and so that's why they don't hang their carcasses for long at all. You're basically 36 hours from the time that it comes onto the floor to the time it's boxed. But they have a lot of electrical equipment and things that kind of induce rigor mortis, whereas plants our size will let them hang those 12 days to let that kind of set, let that meat really reach that high quality, and then we would take that out and fab it at that point.
Thanks, sir. Any other discussion? Representative Deere.
Is the lagoon area in the back of the facility, is that completed?
I don't believe it's completed, so they laid the fast cast bridge yesterday. I know that they're still we have to do the pump that kind of pulls the water to when we get to the point where we're having to irrigate. So I know they have a little bit of the plumbing left to do, and they have to put some of the grass and stuff like around the banks and things, keep erosion from coming, but it's certainly on target.
The house that's next to the facility in the back, does that belong to the facility, or is that private property? Just to the south of the building?
Just to the south. So so I don't believe that's us. And I don't know if you're talking. So the community center's building would be to the west, but everything to the south, that doesn't belong to us. No.
Oh, it's a private property.
I believe so.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion? Representative Randolph.
Thank you, Speaker. What about the city of Winchester? What's the status with them?
We haven't heard anything from them in a while. I couldn't really comment. The Attorney General's office may have heard from them, but I haven't specifically heard anything in quite some time. I will just say, we've worked really closely with the EPA, which I think was one of their main concerns, and so there were some jurisdictional issues there. I don't know how much we want to go into, but there were some jurisdictional issues there. I think misunderstanding on their side of the attorneys of which authority had, jurisdiction over us. But we've been in constant contact with the EPA, and we're permitted and getting all the permits necessary. So we should be good there. But as far as the legal side, I haven't heard anything else from them since they've been in the news.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Randolph. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
James Jennings, Adam Jones,
Yes.
William Lowe,
Yes.
Anna Marshall,
Yes.
Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Thomasine Uhola Osborne,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Lucian Tiger,
Yes.
Mary Crawford,
Yes.
Joyce Deere,
Yes.
Patrick Freeman Jr.,
Yes.
Joseph Hicks.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 14 in favor, 0 against.
14 in favor, 0 against. That motion passes. TR 21-121. A tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation confirming the nomination of Andrea James to serve on the Muskogee Creek Nation Election Board. Sponsors Thomasine Uhola Osborne.
Speaker, motion to adopt.
Representative Uhola Osborne made a motion to adopt TR 21-121. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Hicks. Discussion.
Speaker, we have Ms. Tiger from the election board here.
Ms. Tiger, will you come down to the podium, ma'am? There's Ms. James. Good
Good
evening.
evening, everyone. The reason why I'm requesting that we could have an extra board member on our board is that right now we're at a kind of a standstill. We have 3 board members right now that are active. So that's why we feel like that it's going to hinder a quorum or anything that we have to go through. So but that's the reason why we were asking if this board member could be confirmed. So if she's going to be a board member, you know. And so we appreciate it. We feel like, you know, it's kind of a situation where we know that if she's in the primary or at the general, that we'll have enough for a quorum or anything that arises during the election. So we just feel like that, you know, if we can have that, we would appreciate it.
Okay.
Any questions?
All right. Thank you, Ms. Tiger. Council, do you have any questions for Ms. Tiger? Representative Jennings.
Where's Miss James?
We didn't, I got the message at the very last and I just saw the text. I was on my way to a ball game. So we didn't, I don't know if Nelson contacted her yet or what.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Representative Lowe.
Thank you, Speaker. To me, I don't have a question at all. I just would feel a lot more comfortable if we had the candidate here to actually ask questions with. I mean, she has a phenomenal resume, and I appreciate it. I just think it's best for me to make a educated decision. I would need to visit with her, sir. But
Thank you, Representative Lowe. Any other discussion?
Speaker?
Representative Kehola
Yes.
Osborne.
I'd like to make a motion to postpone until the next regular session so that we could have Ms. James here.
Do you want to return this to the committee?
Yes, that'll be fine.
So your motion is to return to the committee.
Speaker.
Representative Tiger.
Thank you, Speaker. If it goes back to the committee, we would need to call a HEW meeting to address this. Is there any knowledge of anything else that might need to be addressed? So there'd be another emergency session, Chief or Speaker? Speaker?
No.
Okay, thank you.
So the motion on the floor is to return to committee. Correct. Do I have a second?
Ms. Tiger,
Hang on, Representative Randolph.
oh, I'm sorry.
The motion on the floor is to return to committee. Do I have a second? Second by Representative Huff. You have the floor, Representative Randolph.
My apologies. Ms. Tiger, is there a time sensitivity to this?
I'm sorry.
Is there a time sensitivity to this?
Well, I don't think so, except that, you know, we just actually wanted her to be with the primary at the time when it should have started. But if it's not possible, then we still would like to have a board member, you know, just to make sure that we're able to have anything that arises, that we have a quorum. As it stands right now, it's just 3 of us that are really active, and we just feel like that either one of us could get sick or something like that, and I just feel more comfortable with a full board. And I'm sorry that we didn't contact Ms. James.
Thank you, Ms. Tiger. Thanks, Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Randolph. Any other discussion?
Speaker.
Representative Tiger.
Thank you, Speaker. Representative Viola Osborne, this motion passes. Take it back to committee. I will poll the HEW committee for a meeting prior to planning. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Tiger. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Tiger. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote on return to committee.
Thomasina Halla Osborne,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Lucian Tiger,
Yes.
Mary Crawford,
Yes.
Joyce Steer,
Yes.
Patrick Freeman,
Yes.
Joseph Hicks,
Yes.
Robert Huft,
Yes.
James Jennings, Adam Jones,
Yes.
William Lowe,
Yes.
Hannah Marshall,
Yes.
Charles McHenry.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 14 in favor, 0 against.
14 in favor, 0 against to return TR 21-121 back to the committee. NCA 21-092. A law of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing an appropriation to the Muskogee Creek Nation Tourism and Recreation Department for the Fountainhead Golf Course. Sponsors William Lowe.
Speaker, make a motion to adopt.
Representative Lowe made a motion to adopt NCA 21-092, seconded by Representative Jones. Discussion.
Yes, Speaker, I'd like to give Mr. Stephen Fox some time, please.
Mr. Fox, please come forward, please.
These funds are going to be used to replace a tractor at the golf course. The original tractor that was there, I believe, was purchased in 2008 when you guys first took over down there. It was a pretty small tractor that's been used and abused, to say the least. I took it to Stuart Martin to get a quote to repair it. It was $9,200 to repair the tractor they're willing to give us, I think, $5,000 on a trade-in for. So, I mean, it was almost double the value of the tractor just to fix it. And so at that point, I just had them quote me a new tractor. They quoted us a new tractor, giving us $5,000 trade on that, which would cost us $27,300 for the new tractor. But it's a big enough tractor that we can use it to load sand. We can use it to pull our spreader, our sprayers if we need to. It has turf tires on it where we can drive it up and down the fairways to spread fertilizer, where the old tractor had ag tires on it, so you couldn't even drive it on the golf course at all. It would just tear up the turf anywhere you drove. I mean, the tractor we're getting could do a lot more things that we need to do on the golf course, and I mean, should easily last 15 to 20 years, I mean, as long as it's taken care of. So.
Thank you. Is there any discussion or questions for Mr. Fox?
That's what I know. That's what I'm going to ask.
Representative Jennings.
Thank you. So, Mr. Fox, I see you get a good value on your trade-in, but you only have one quote.
Yeah, I went with Stuart Martin basically just because of all the equipment that we've bought from them through the nation in the past. And I mean, the other places that I would have gone through, I could have went through my Toro distributor. They call Kubota and get a quote also. The only other place was John Deere, which I had a tractor quoted from them when we did our original equipment lease, and it was $34,000 and change. I mean, which I can send that quote in from them previously, but I mean, the other two tractors that we had quoted previously on our equipment lease were much more expensive than Stuart Martin's given us.
I understand that, but it still requires 3 quotes.
Yeah, I can send those others in.
This is probably the best quote, but
oh, it is, yes, sir.
so, but you're still required to have 3. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Jennings.
Speaker.
Representative Tiger.
Thank you, Speaker. Do you by chance have these quotes in your emails with you by chance?
I may have. I can check real fast.
Could you please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Speaker,
Representative Lowe.
to give Mr. Fox some time, we can allow him that time to get those 2 other quotes and add this to the BF&J agenda. Do that. Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You gonna make that a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion. We would just send it back to committee. Would that be it? BF&J committee. That way, it'll give him some time to find those quotes.
Yeah, the quote I had for professional turf for a Kubota tractor which was a little smaller tractor than this one we're actually getting, was $32,039.23.
Okay.
Speaker, is there a motion and a second?
Yes.
I second.
Hang on. Okay, the motion on the floor by Representative Lowell is to send back to the committee. Do I have a second? Second by Representative Jennings. Any discussion? Any discussion?
Speaker,
Representative Tiger.
thank you. Just real quick before we vote on this, so we're clear, the quotes need to be for the same type of equipment also, please. When you come to BF, if this goes back to the committee, they need to be for the same type of equipment, please.
Okay,
Thank you. Thank you, Speaker.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
William Lowe,
Yes.
Anna Marshall, Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Thomasine Hola Osborne,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Lucian Tiger,
Yes.
Mary Crawford,
Yes.
Joyce Steer,
Yes.
Patrick Freeman, Joseph Hicks,
Yes.
Robert Huft,
Yes.
James Jennings,
Yes.
Adam Jones. Speaker, you have 14 in favor, 0 against.
14 in favor, 0 against, to return to committee. And BF&J meeting is next Thursday, correct, Representative Lowe? Mr. Fox, BF&J will be next Thursday. NCA 21093. A law of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the expenditure of the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA funds received from the United States Department of Treasury for the Muskogee Creek Nation vaccine incentive for tribal employees. Sponsors Charles McHenry.
Speaker, make a motion to adopt.
Representative McHenry made a motion to adopt NCA 21093, seconded by Representative Randolph. Any discussion?
Ask if the chief make comment, please.
Chief Hill.
Good evening, Council Representative. As you all know, the what I call the third strand, and I think Mr. Terry kind of explained yesterday, gave you a report on how much it's increasing. We definitely don't want to lose any more citizens or employees, to this virus. So what we had discussed yesterday and today, try to follow footsteps of what the health department has done, and I think the GOAB is in discussion as well, to provide some incentive for the ones who has not received it, $500 if they get the vaccine. Another problem is the ones that's prior to already received it will receive the $500. As you see in the legislation, it also states that we will have some contract workers. They're not direct employees of the nation, but we have some that'll be working on the ARP funding and different emergency assistance that they are contract. So we allow that we'll pay them $200. Anything after a certain date of, I think the 30th, that they would receive, or December 21st would receive $100. So we kind of step it down. Definitely don't, as I mentioned, definitely don't want to lose any more citizens. And it's best to protect the citizens and employees that come to the complex. We've had to have the mask required in the safe space. And I know, talking to the Citizenship Board, due to the legislation that was passed last month, the Citizenship Board has increased. They have just the other day, over 700 applications for enrollment. So they are swamped. So I did approve overtime for them to try to get caught up. And when the citizens come into the office or in the little area, they're crowded. So we're going to have a discussion on if we should make appointments only, as we did before. Definitely don't want to shut everything down like we did, especially I know I got calls from community centers as well. Wanted them to comply with the CDC regulations if they hold their meetings as well. And, this, on y'all's approval, I'm pretty sure everyone's getting calls. I got calls from some of the council's reps as well, to protect, it's basically to protect the citizens and the employees of the nation. Is there any questions?
Council, do you have any questions? Representative Crawford.
Well, Chief, as you well know, when you put out legislation like this for money, they're going to ask where did they sign up for to receive this money to show that they've had their vaccinations.
Most employees, it is recorded, in the
Mhm.
health department, that's where we have to, or unless they can show their card. The ones that did receive their shots already should have a card.
Right.
Once they, we get that information, they can provide that. That's what we'll need, and they can give that to their cabinet members or their managers, whatever. Now, be aware, this is, the health is doing theirs, and gaming, this is for just the employees at the tribal complex. So if you get any questions, separate from the citizenship board, or the gaming facilities and the health department. This is only for the tribal headquarters.
Thank you, Representative Crawford. Representative Deere.
Chief, does this need to specify that unless they're getting it in another department, they're not included in this legislation, the gaming and the health department, does this need to specify that? It needs to be
No,
amended
because the
to
health
show-
department's already done that. They have theirs in process already.
But the gaming's just starting, I understand. They're doing the same thing.
Yes.
So if it says it here, can they apply for both? The way it reads to me, they could. So it needs wording in here to say, unless they're receiving it from gaming or the health department.
Yes, if you want to make that amendment to just include the tribal employees here at the nation or headquarters, whatever.
Representative Deere, what was your recommendation?
Well, I was trying to figure out where to put it. Where it says the nation is wanting to provide for up to
Representative Deere.
1,200
Representative
tribal.
Deere, can you speak into your microphone? They can't hear you over here.
The nation is wanting to provide for up to 1,200 tribal employees a one-time incentive in the amount of $500 to each employee that has been vaccinated in order to, and maybe at the end put unless, well, how many total employees do we have?
With the approximately about 1,200. Now, we did figure that job fair that we're having next week, there may be some that may get employed. So we put an average of just about 1,200. I think there's a spreadsheet on the back.
So 1,200 employees includes gaming and health?
No, this is just employees here at the nation.
Okay.
You can put maybe with the exception of gaming employees or health, I don't know, or just whatever y'all think.
I would add that kind of wording at the end, with the exception of gaming and health employees, since they're doing their own. I don't know, is it clear to you?
And then would you include MNBE?
Since
One
they're
Fire?
different, they're not actually Creek Nation employees. They're a separate entity on that.
Okay. So Representative Deere, which line? And page?
Line 21, after and our citizens, with the exception of gaming and health employees. That way it's clear it's just for tribal employees here. Mm-hmm. It works.
Okay, so your motion on the floor is to
Amend it to
amend
add
line 21 and add with the exception of gaming and health employees.
health employees, yes.
Speaker, you may add the college too, because college got a grant that they're doing their own. I forgot about that.
Speaker,
Representative Jennings.
Chief, the college has already done theirs. Theirs was funded through the BIE.
Yeah, that's
Okay, the motion on the floor with Representative Deere is with the exception of gaming and health employees. Do I have a second?
Speaker,
Hang on, Chief. Do I have a second for that amendment?
Speaker, could you repeat that motion, please?
The motion from Representative Deere is to amend line 21 after
line 18.
after citizens to add with the exception of gaming and health employees.
So you're gonna add the college too, if you're gonna, they've already done it too.
We can add the college if they're getting separate funding. Are they doing the same thing? The
They're doing
college
the
has
same
already
on their
been
own.
done?
Yes, they're doing the same on their own.
Just so
But
it
you
will
have
be
to add
clear.
them.
Hang on. The motion on the floor is with the exception of gaming and health employees. That's the motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
Second for discussion.
Second by Representative Tiger. Now discussion.
I can, we need to amend it to include the College of the Muskogee Nation employees. So College of I would say with the exception of gaming, health, and the College of the Muskogee Nation employees.
Speaker. Attorney General.
Go ahead, Mr. Wiley.
Speaker, yeah, this is Roger Wiley. I just want to recommend that whatever language you add to the findings you add in section 2 at the end of purpose, that's really where the meat of the law is, under purpose and authorization. So I recommend if you put it in the findings to make it effective, it needs to be under purpose as well. Thank you.
Excluding.
And so now you made another motion to add the College of the
Just add the
Nation.
same language at the end of that sentence under purpose. Section 2, purpose. For the Muskogee Creek Nation vaccine incentive for tribal employees, with the exception of gaming, health, and the College of Muskogee Nation.
And then the recommendation from Mr. Wiley.
Mr. Wiley.
You want to amend that as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So the motion on the floor is to amend line 21 at the end of the sentence, add with the exception of gaming, health, and College of the Nation employees. Then also section 2 under purpose, add that same language. After the add the same language after the employees at the end of the sentence.
I don't think you need
So that's her
employees
amendment.
then.
Do I have a second?
Second for discussion again, please.
Representative Tiger, second it for discussion. Now we have discussion again.
Thank you, Speaker. Representative Deere,
Yes, sir.
would it be better so it's consistent throughout to put it on line 18 after tribal employees? Then you have the same on section 2, line 3. You added the language after tribal employees.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Tiger. Representative Jones.
Thank you, Speaker. I got a question for Attorney General and possibly Chief too at the same time. Do, when we administer this, and it's pretty vague, um, and I agree the pandemic's a terrible thing, but it almost looks as if it's paying somebody to take the vaccine as well. But should there be any type of documentation about the vaccine with the facts and data, with the science to back it up, that's being administered by the administration to the employees? Total understanding. Should that be in there, AG? I mean, because it's just as here's a shot, or is the data sheet there for the employees and citizens as well, or is it just here's your shot?
I think that's a question better directed to Sean Terry, Healthcare Director or Health Director. I don't know what information is being distributed at the time the shot is given.
Okay. Sean, did you hear that question?
I did. Of course, there is information that's given out at with the vaccination, and Representative Jones, this information and what's out publicly changes on a pretty rapid basis out there. But this Delta variant is rapidly spreading. And pretty much it's become a pandemic of the unvaccinated. Over 90% of all of our admissions, all of our positives are folks that have not been vaccinated. And there's really only one way out of this, and that's people are going to have to be vaccinated. And we've instituted a mandate, and those mandates come with very controversial opinions about. You have people that are anti-vaxxers. You have people that have religious objections and physical objections. And so what we really hope is that a logical first step is really getting out to everyone that there's only one way out of this, and that's to receive this vaccination. And we hope that incentivizing can be more effective than going to the more drastic measures of mandates. And I hope that it doesn't have to come to that throughout the rest of the nation, but that's where we stand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Jones. Representative Jennings.
Well, while we're on discussion here, I'm not for this bill. I appreciate all our employees, all the risks that they take, but you have Creek citizens out there that have been vaccinated, and you want them to get vaccinated, that have to go to a job to provide for their families. So I feel like by having a select group, and this money, these ARP funds, come from the Department of Treasury for the people of the Creek Nation. So I feel like that the everyday Creek citizens should be included in this payment also. So if they're vaccinated or become vaccinated. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Jennings. Representative Lowe, did you have something?
Hello, Speaker. I was going to kind of make the same point Mr. Jennings did. I know we have tribal employees that are non-citizens, and I know we passed that bill for our citizens to receive distribution. So will the employees get their distribution before our citizens will? Chief.
Well, we thought of that too, Mr. Will.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Lowe, at this point, I have to protect the employees as well.
Sure.
And we do have citizens coming to the complex. Now, we have been in discussion about all the citizens. What can we do to help them? Our challenge is going to be those that may live out of state. We can count the ones that use our facilities to get the vaccination. But the ones that did not, they had to provide the card. And those that live out of state, same thing. we have been in discussion about that, and if, and if y'all is in favor, you know, I'm willing to sit down and see how we can figure that out. Definitely, I understand what Mr. Jennings said, because, you know, if I worked same in the previous employer, you know, I would hope they would have done the same thing. But here, our nation, I have to do what I need to do to protect the employees in the nation. So we can discuss that. We did discuss a little bit, but there's going to be some challenges.
Sure. You know, I think, Speaker, if I may, you know, the other thing is, what about those with natural immunity to the, or have the medical conditions that they cannot get the vaccine? Are they technically penalized because they can't show you a card that they received the vaccine, so they're out of the $500 running instantly?
That was discussed as well. If they do get COVID and have to take off, you know, they'll get admin leave. They'll get paid that. As it is now, the ones that do not, if they get, you know, we're putting that out there for everyone. All employees get the vaccine, but those that are not wanting to, if they do get the COVID and sick, they have to use their annual. But those are with the medical, like you said, they happen to get it, they have to stay home, they will get admin leave.
Yes, sir.
But they're, you know, their doctors may say, hey, with their condition, they ask them not to take the shots. You know, that's kind of be up to them.
Yes, sir. You know, I think, Speaker, I appreciate this. You know, initially when I read this, I thought it was a great opportunity to get our tribal employees vaccinated, you know, but in stepping back and looking at it, you know, I would really like to get our citizens funded before, you know, get their $2,000 distribution before we implemented this program. And I know this pandemic doesn't wait on anyone. I do understand it, and I do appreciate our employees as well. I just think, you know, if we pass this bill, you know, our citizens are out there without jobs waiting on this distribution. So I just want it to be as fair as possible, since Mr. Jennings did make the point of the ARP funding being for our entire citizens. Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Lowe. Representative Randolph.
I was thinking about the employees. They're the ones that provide the service. And if they was to get a lot of people, if it broke out here, they wouldn't be able to provide the service to the citizens to get them their checks. So I think we have to look at that also. We got to keep the employees well so they can provide services to the citizens. Citizens won't be able to get their distribution without the employees. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Randolph. Okay, the motion on the floor was Representative Deere amendments. Any other discussion on the amendments?
Speaker.
Representative Tiger.
Representative Deere.
How many people's been vaccinated?
Did you make the motion to move it to 18?
Oh, yes, I make a motion to move it from line 21 to line 18. That amendment.
Okay, the motion on the floor is to remove from line 21, add it to line 18, correct?
After tribal employees, yes.
And what we're adding is with the exception of college, or with the exception of gaming, health, and college of the Muskogee Nation employees. Yeah. So that was the motion. Do I have a second? Seconded by Representative Tiger. Discussion on that motion only, please.
Question.
Representative Jones.
I do have a question for Chief as well. Is how many people, do you have a percentage of vaccination employees that have been vaccinated?
Representative Jones. Chief, you can answer that later. Let's get this motion, and then after that, we'll get the discussion out. So the motion on the floor again, line 18, add with the exception of gaming and health employees and College of Muskogee Nation employees. Line 18. Any other discussion on that motion?
Call for vote.
Roll call vote, please.
Joyce Deere. Patrick Freeman.
Yes.
Joseph Hicks.
Yes.
Robert Huft.
Yes.
James Jennings.
No.
Adam Jones.
No.
William Lowe.
Yes.
Hannah Marshall,
Yes.
Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Thomas Annuhola Osborne,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Lucian Tiger,
Yes.
Mary Crawford.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 12 in favor, 2 against.
12 in favor, 2 against for the amendments. Now back to the main motion. The motion is to adopt the NCA 21093 as amended.
Speaker.
Representative Tiger.
Thank you, Speaker. Secretary Terry?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Secretary Terry. After
Thank you,
hearing
Secretary Terry. After hearing
the
I can
discussion,
hear you.
the discussion,
Yes.
after hearing the discussion, Secretary Terry, how difficult will it be to find out how many citizens have actually been vaccinated through our clinics and hospital?
Are you saying citizens in general or employees that are citizens?
Tribal citizens.
I could pull a report relatively easy that would give us our patients by tribal affiliation. I don't think it would be that difficult to do.
Would you have any type of guesstimation, Secretary Terry, at this point of how many of our tribal citizens have been vaccinated through our facilities?
My best guess, Mr. Tiger, would be probably between 35 and 45%.
Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you, Secretary. You feel?
Secretary Terry, can you mute your device,
Secretary Terry,
please?
can you mute your device, please?
I'm sorry?
Can you mute your device, please?
You mute your device, please.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. Chief Hill, now we're back to normal here. So with that being said, I would like to ask Mr. Terry, but I'll ask you this. So what kind of time frame do you think we could get to where, like was the discussion earlier, to where we could get this same incentive to the citizens that have been vaccinated? Just a guesstimation. I know you can't be concrete, but just like a guesstimation, a couple of weeks, something like that.
I think we can gather that information at least in a couple of weeks. Now, AJ had mentioned, let me finish his. I think the employees, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Terry, the employees at the tribal nation is, I think, 40% that's been vaccinated. The health is 80%. I know you was asking, I want to tell you out my mind. Now you had asking, of all the citizens, that's going to be the challenge of, throughout the United States,
Yes,
how
sir.
many have to provide a vaccine. We'd be really pushing it in a couple of weeks. Trying to get all that information. Because we're going to have to reach out to all the citizens out there that have put it on a website or Facebook, whatever.
Right.
Another thing we was going to add, still in discussion with Tara and Chief of Staff Tracy, maybe put that on our portal when they apply for the 2,000. Check mark if they got it, take a snapshot and attach it to the website or attach it to the data system, and it'll show up on there. It'll show their vaccine card along with the application for the 2,000. About the only other way.
Okay, yes, because I understand it's definitely difficult to come up with that number. So I guess my question is, if this bill passes tonight, can we definitely get a bill as well to cover the citizens? Because like we were saying earlier, and you agreed as well, that this money's for the citizens.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Tiger. Representative Jones, did you have any more? I cut you off earlier.
No, it's all right.
Representative Jennings.
Thank you. And Chief, I appreciate that. I would like to see it as soon as possible. like I say, this is approximately 1,200 people, and you have approximately 93,000 Creek citizens that need to be helped with this also. So I just hope that we can get another bill to include that in, if that's what it takes to uh, get their money to them, make that part of the application to receive this extra incentive. Uh, I'm just still concerned about the everyday citizen. That is what I'm concerned about, and this money is for Creek citizens. So, thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Jennings. Any other discussion?
Just comment.
Representative Hicks.
Chief, this bill you got here, I know it's, I'm kind of in the same boat with Representative Lowe and Representative Jennings. I see that it's good for our employees, to kind of give back to them for getting the
Representative Hicks,
vaccine.
can you speak in a microphone, please?
Oh, I know it's good. To me, this bill was done with good intentions. It was to reward our employees for getting the vaccine. But again, like Representative Lowe and Representative Jennings said, this bill just flew out of nowhere whenever, here was it last month, we passed a deal for our citizens to get 2,000, and, they're not even being able to be helped yet. Um, you know, and then too, it being called an incentive, that to me looks like people are being paid off to get this shot. I think it'd be a bonus because you got it. If you don't get it, fine. If you do, fine too. And I know it's for protection of everybody around. I've definitely had my vaccine, and I know there's others who don't want it. So, I'm kind of, like I said, I'm kind of in the same boat with Representative Jennings, Representative Lowe. I guess that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Hicks. Chief?
Yeah, I totally understand. I mean, that was discussed today, what to do with all the citizens. But I was going to kind of say the same thing as Mark. They all come here. So I have to do it to protect them when the citizens come to the complex, as well as protecting the employees. Definitely, that was on my mind, Representative Jennings. We have to help all the citizens, but some employees are the ones that provide the services to the citizens. So we have to protect them as well. I'm more than happy to sit down, even if y'all want to put a target date on this, that's fine. But it's whatever the council wishes are. Like I said, I understand what Joe was saying too, that I've seen a lot of legislation come at the last minute as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Representative Marshall.
Chief, in the section B, where it states that the ones that haven't been vaccinated are getting 500, and then those that were vaccinated between October the 1st and December 31st are only getting 300. So you have a group of employees who voluntarily got vaccinated, and I think they should get the same amount as the ones that are getting it now at 500.
They're getting 5.
No, but I'm saying that the ones, tribal employees that were fully vaccinated, or maybe I'm misunderstanding it, from October 1, 21 through December 31, but they're getting a reduced one-time incentive of 300. Am I reading that correctly?
What it says.
Well, we set a timeline from like October, December. That's why we set the timeline if you get it now. But you're going to have some that may wait to the last minute. So that's from October, December.
So should that have been, okay. To me, it just seems like they should both receive 500.
Like I said, it's kind of, you want to encourage them to get it sooner than later. So you're going to have some that's going to get it. As Representative Hicks said, you're going to have some that's going to wait, may not get it all. That's your choice. But we're just trying to put a timeline of, some of them's going to wait till October to December. And we're just trying to put it out there. If you want to get it now, it's 500. Just kind of, I don't want to say push them or rush them, but
But to me, it still seems like it should be 500 flat for whether you get it now or if you get it later. I mean that's just my humble opinion.
if y'all want to amend that's fine with me. Totally fine with me.
Representative Marshall, we're good?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but to me, it seems like it should still be 500. I mean, just equal along equal. But this is okay. I can live with it.
Any other discussion?
Call for the vote.
Call for vote. Roll call vote, please.
Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Thomasine Yohola Osborne,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Lucian Tiger,
No.
Mary Crawford,
Yes.
Joyce Steer,
Yes.
Patrick Freeman,
Yes.
Joseph Hicks,
No.
Robert Huft,
Yes.
James Jennings,
No.
Adam Jones,
No.
William Lowe,
Speaker, before I answer, can I ask a question? We're actually going to have a bill to roll out to our citizens if this passes, correct? For the same, that's what we discussed earlier.
That was the discussion.
Yes, sir. Okay. Yes.
Anna Marshall,
Yes. Say yes.
Ms. Marshall, did you say yes?
Yes.
Okay. Speaker, you have 10 in favor, 4 against.
10 in favor, 4 against. That motion passes. Okay, that concludes the order of business. Next item on the agenda is announcements. Are there any announcements from council? Impeachment session immediately following emergency session. We'll may take a 5-minute break. Take a 5-minute break. We'll come back and we'll go into the impeachment session.
Freaking doing all this.
Any other announcements?
Send the 2000 out right here.
Hearing none, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Representative Tiger made a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Second by Representative McHenry. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. This time, I'd like to ask Representative Joe Hicks to give the benediction, please. Amen. Meeting adjourned, 7:29.